Yeah.
Welcome to the Buck and Mike Experience.
Experience sports like you never have before.
Where the buck stops.
And the mic drops.
Bam. Well, here we are another week.
Another fun.
What is this, episode 24 now?
You had to spring that on me? I don't know.
I don't remember. It's like, I think it's 24, 25. Here, you can answer this. How many did y'all do in the last podcast run you did? Remember, our goal was just to have
we're
more
at
than
24,
that.
so this will be 25 right
Yeah,
now. This is number 25. I think we had like 10.
Oh, yeah, so we're long road past.
Yeah.
We've almost made it pretty much a calendar year with some breaks here and there.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we're looking pretty solid all in all.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, we've made it a lot further than the last time, so or the other podcast that I had, just because we could never get together, never get a time straight. Someone couldn't come, and then finally it just kind of was like disappeared.
It happens that way. But, well, welcome to the show. Excited to get going. We missed last week. Sorry, we had an urgent work crisis literally while we were getting started. So
Yep, that's the craziest thing. I knew I was on call, and
yeah,
all week long I didn't get nothing, and then the night I go do something.
Oh, it always happens that way.
And I'm like, man, you gotta be kidding me.
Every single time. my wife's a nurse. She gets on call. Well, not anymore. But her old shift, she would take call, and it would be like every time we'd be like, hey, how about we just let's go to dinner tonight. But like you haven't been called all day. It's late. Like probably not gonna call. So you sit down. Shh, son of a bitch. Well, can we get this to go, please? She's got to be in the office in an hour. Like, so
it happens.
Always a good laugh.
It happens.
So, how do you want to start this bad boy? We want to start local tie, football tie?
Well, I think we should just go with the obvious.
I think we go with the happiest news.
The happiest.
The happiest news.
Happiest
the happiest news
and-
of the
and-
American League Championship Series!
Most
Boom!
obvious.
In case you missed it, I don't know how you did, but the Texas Rangers went ahead and took care of business, sweeping the Orioles. First time since Rutschman has been called to the big leagues 91 series ago that the Orioles were swept. Now, it won't technically count towards their streak because it's a playoff series, but counts in our eyes.
Yeah.
So, sitting here waiting for the winner of Houston and Minnesota, which Houston's up 2-1 and currently has a 3-1 lead. It looks like they're in the 4th inning, so you'll know tomorrow morning which way it's going.
Yeah.
Preference on who you play?
Honestly, so I would rather have the Twins because I actually kind of pieced this out. Against the Astros, we're 4-9. We've allowed 128 hits and 30 home runs.
Yeah.
And we've been outscored 91-44.
Yeah, it's rough.
So
Astros
against the Astros, they have our number.
And you have to give home field to the Astros. We got to give home field to either team. But.
And then against the Twins, we also have a losing record at 2-5.
Yes.
But we've allowed 67 hits and 15 home runs, which is significantly lower, even though there's not as many games played. It's still significantly lower. And we were only outscored 47-33.
Yeah.
So
there
is. I would much rather play the Twins. Also, I have friends that live in Minnesota, so if the Rangers play the Twins, it would be pretty cool just to be able to back and forth between us with that. But I mean, I think everyone wants the Astros just for the Battle of Texas.
Which, I mean, I can see that side of it, but as a fan, I don't.
As a fan,
I don't want the team that's
I want the Twins because I feel like we have a better shot against the Twins.
And that's saying that I think the reason we have the better shot is that I don't want anything to do with the amount of playoff experience that the Astros have.
Yeah.
Bruce Bochy is like the great equalizer for the playoff experience front, along with having Seager. But the rest of the Ranger team just doesn't have that kind of experience.
Right.
So I don't want to go run up and do a lineup where Jose Altuve's touched more playoff games than anyone that we've seen on our team.
The entire Rangers
yeah.
lineup combined? Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I would say, would it be entertaining to play the Astros? Yes. You can't say it wouldn't be a fun. It really would, especially since in an era where sports rivalries, like true, like team-to-team rivalries are kind of falling off. You'd really get to develop a hardcore, like there's already a little bit of a rivalry there. But I think this would genuinely give you like that, almost, I'm not going to say that far, but like to the degree of the style like a Red Sox Yankees, like that kind of. That is what you would getting a series like this, especially if it went 7 games or anything like that. But in the few innings that we got to see the Rangers bullpen, it didn't make me feel really good about it. So I'd rather play the Twins.
As long as Aroldis Chapman never plays again,
man,
I'm okay. Like that gave me the most nerves I've ever had in my life. I'm like, what are you doing? Why?
Dude,
why?
I'm telling you this. Watching him when he pitched with the Cubs, I don't feel like I ever remember him coming out of the bullpen for the Cubs drenched in sweat. Like, when he comes into the game, it looks like he decided he was going to hit the gym, do a full workout, do some cardio, and then he's like, all right, now I'm going to throw this 20-pin set, and I'm going to go pitch. Like, he's sitting there, and he's just... And he's a big dude. Like, you can see him laboring. It's like, man, bro, like... cut your warm-up in half.
I don't know what's going on with him. I mean, I know it's been going on for a while, but... Like, I don't understand why they would even allow him to come in with his struggles.
The sad part is, though, because of the struggles everyone else has, his stuff still rates out that you just kind of have to hope.
That is true.
After it's really him, and then Leclerc, and then right now you kind of can trust Josh Sborz. And then after that, Will Smith's an afterthought. I don't even know if he actually made the roster. I think you're begging for Jonathan Gray and Max Scherzer to be healthy because you need as many arms in the bullpen. I think we joked that the Rangers had a surplus of starting pitching at one point, and they had all the injuries, so it worked out, and they had the 6-man rotation approach. But really, the Rangers needed 6 starters because they need to hope some of these guys need bullpen innings because that bullpen is still just crap.
Yeah, it is.
And the Astros bullpen isn't much better. Let's not act like they have this platinum level bullpen themselves, but they're starting.
Rangers.
Well, yeah, but their starting rotation is pretty darn nasty.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't Christian Javier, then you've got I forgot the other guy, the Framber Valdez. I mean, it'll be an interesting one, but I think the Astros are going to end up closing it out tonight. Like I said, they have the lead right now.
I think so too. I was really hoping it wouldn't be them just because of how bad we are against them.
True. And on the plus side, though, of them closing out now, baseball players are routine creatures. We don't like when our routine changes. And so having 5 days off for the Rangers kind of sucks. Like, that you want to hit the next day. You want to hit every other day. You don't want a week off.
Right.
The Astros, if they go ahead and take this out, they're going to have to at least have 4 days off themselves. So at least everyone has to kind of fight the rust bug a little bit, because that is something that I do believe we've seen that issue. Look at the Braves right now. The Braves are sitting here about to go down 2-1 to the Phillies, and it just seems like the Braves have just never really clicked. That might be to do with the whole playoff format. There's a lot of complaints about how baseball players don't like sitting so long, and so the new playoff format kind of makes the bye people have to sit, and that throws off that routine and that stuff and things like that. So. And then later tonight, we also have Dodgers Diamondbacks. While we're at it, since we do know the Rangers have a shot at it, with the Phillies holding the lead right now, and the Diamondbacks potentially looking for the sweep, which do you think any of these other teams make the comeback? I don't think we can rule the Braves out just yet.
Yeah, I wouldn't rule the Braves out yet, but when it comes to the Diamondbacks, I think the Diamondbacks are going to, if they don't get the sweep, they're going to win.
I'm saying, I feel like
I don't know if they're going to get the sweep, but if they do get the sweep, that's cool that there's 2 teams during this.
Exactly. Especially 2 wild card teams getting that run. The other part that would be fun about seeing the Diamondbacks, I think, or the other thing about the Diamondbacks, I would say, is Diamondbacks. The Dodgers are very Astros-like with experience. So if I'm the Diamondbacks, like, you have to play to kill tonight. Like, you need to pitch. If I'm their manager, I'm approaching this game like this is our last game. I don't want to think about we have tomorrow. Because if I give the Dodgers an inch and then an inch, the Dodgers win Game 5. No hesitations. I'm not even going to doubt that in my mind. The Dodgers win Game 5. So I'm going for the kill now.
I mean, I would too. I would 100% too.
So
yeah, totally get that.
But
So one of the things that I saw today, or last night, they talked about how the AL East is 0-7 this postseason, and then 0-11 from last season because of the New York Yankees getting swept by the Astros.
Which something is another fear of the Rangers, mind you, is Aroldis in Houston.
Yeah. So here's the other thing. This is the first time since 1990 that no AL East recorded a single win in the MLB postseason. since 1990. How old are you in 1990?
Oh, I wasn't born.
You wasn't born yet. That's why I asked, because I knew.
I was born in 91.
Yeah, I was 5 years old when that happened.
And that all goes in line, and truly, look, I'm not a Yankees fan. It's not even that I really and truly, I can't. It's kind of just you're engraved. You don't like the Yankees, I guess.
Yeah.
But you can't not respect what they've done, and you really look at that, and you can realize that it all ties into the Yankees' success as an organization. Because, the Orioles,
they're always putting money in.
Exactly.
They're always in there trying to get another championship, while other teams, A's, aren't.
Yeah, exactly. The thing you can't ever knock on the Yankees is that they are, I guess you would say, it's kind of in the approach like we talk about how people talk of the Dallas Cowboys, of they're always a contender. The New York Yankees really and truly aren't allowed to have a rebuild year. Like it's just really not allowed. Right. It's just like if the first time the Cowboys go 1-15, everyone's gonna flip shit because they're not allowed to rebuild.
Been done since 1990. 1988. 88.
Because 89 was the 8th draft. Yeah. So it's just there's certain.
We're on point on that.
Yeah, look at us. I mean, there's just certain organizations though that kind of speaks to how good the Yankees have been. So not to give a Yankee compliment, but you kind of have to say that yes, the Red Sox have won a couple World Series in there. Yes, the Blue Jays have been decent here and there, but they haven't been great. The Orioles,
but you always know the Yankees.
Yeah, but you've always known the Yankees are there, and so you've got to give them respect where it's due. So.
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of think that's a little bit it on baseball there.
Yeah, I think that kind of covers it. We'll get by next episode. We'll know our CS competition. We'll be in the middle of it, so we'll be diving right into who's going to be in the World Series, hopefully.
So now let's go ahead and switch over to some football. So I've got a lot of good stuff here. One of the things I didn't really want to talk about all the football games like we have been, because I realize that that's part of why we keep going really long.
We do go pretty long.
So I just kind of spotlighted a couple, and it's the ones that are. It's still most of them, just not all of them.
I mean, there's a point to play.
So you got to talk about Thursday night game with Denver and Kansas City, and Kansas City is favored by 10.5. Right now, Kelsey is not practicing. He's going to play, but he's not practicing. It's kind of one of those things where
they said it's his ankle, but he came back and finished the game in that same ankle. I would assume that they probably pitch count him. I bet you he plays as soon as they go up by 10.
If he had in fantasy, I would be a little worried to play him.
It'd be one of those spots where if they get up by 10, he probably sits. If the Broncos somehow get close, okay, he's back in. Like he's gonna see like that.
And this week will be the first week that the Broncos will not lose to a former staff member. So, week 1, they lost to Josh McDaniels. Week 2, they lost to Jack Del Rio, defensive coordinator. Week 3, they lost to Vic Fangio, maybe not in the weeks, but they also lost to their former ball boy, Mike McDaniel.
Yep.
And they also lost to their former head coach, Nathaniel Hackett. So, this will be the first game because I went and looked, this will be the first game that they play a team, and because more than likely they're going to lose. They'll lose against someone that's not a former staff member of the coaching staff.
I've literally gotten to I don't know what it is, but I've gotten to the point with Sean Payton where he's almost on that same level of Urban Meyer of just disdainment. I just don't like the guy. And I used to love him. I used to have no problems with him, but now I guess maybe it's the overhype that we've now seen is all true, is coming to light.
It was never him. It was Drew Brees.
Yeah, you're an ass.
He's just all of a sudden this whole time we thought he was just this incredible guru of a coach, and now you're like,
all he really did was give us Taysom Hill, and nobody likes that.
Yeah. So it was one of a weird thing. I do have something about Russell Wilson, but we're going to get on that later. So even though this is a Denver game, it's going to work better later.
All right.
So, and then Baltimore, Tennessee, by the way, this one's in London.
Bro, I'm getting tired of these 8:30 in the morning games.
I love them. I love them.
I don't want to have to be awake.
I'm eating breakfast because I make my eggs and my toast, and
I'm
and
at
my
batting
sauces,
practice.
I'm over there just sitting there eating, watching this game. Like, yeah, I love this.
I'm at batting practice any Sunday following that I don't have a softball tournament. We go to batting practice, and every time I'm sitting in the BP field watching the football game on my phone, going fly ball. I gotta go catch that real quick. So yeah, no.
So hopefully this game the Ravens catch the ball this time. The receivers catch the ball.
Oh
so,
no, I need the Bengals to get hot. So
yeah. Well, they're playing Tennessee.
Yeah. Yeah. They should win.
So, funny enough, apparently they're practicing with rugby footballs catching, and from what I read, it's they actually alternate, and it's a normal thing where they alternate a regular football to a rugby football to a smaller football, so that the receivers can adjust their hands.
That makes sense.
Where they're always trying to use both hands, but you had a really, really, really major problem last week with everyone missing balls.
Yes, and the crazy part about it is when the Pro Football Focus grades came out, Lamar was the highest graded quarterback. And imagine what he done if they had caught the ball.
Yeah, because they didn't take it away from him because of that's what I like about PFF, because they grade what he does, not what they do.
They didn't penalize him for what happened because they don't lose that game. Blame it on the receiver.
Yeah, so that's what I do like, but. Yeah, so apparently they're doing that, and it made no sense to me when I was reading. I was like, I still don't understand. Like, why not just sit in front of it and just catch the ball with two hands? Hey, don't use one hand. Just it doesn't make sense to use something that goes from this to this.
The only thing I can think is that it changes the angles of how you're going for it. Maybe I don't really know.
Yeah,
like I don't know.
But Rex Ryan is the one who pointed it out, and I was like, oh man. So I looked it up and I was like, oh, they sure are doing that. So I don't know how many
Maybe
other
Rashad
teams
Bateman tried to catch a rugby in the end zone because he
definitely
didn't catch it.
I mean, Mark Andrews did the same thing. It went right through his hands.
And that's one of your most sure-handed guys.
Yeah, and then even
OBJ dropped one.
Aguilar.
Got hurt, didn't he? We're used to Aguilar dropping.
Yeah, we're 100% used to that. But Aguilar, his just went right through his hands. Yeah. It was almost looked like he was trying to catch a rugby football, and it went right through his hands.
And if you're Lamar, you're just sitting there going, and this is why they call me a running back, because y'all suck.
Yeah. So hopefully that changes. Tennessee, King Henry.
I don't know. I'm finding a kid I like on that team.
Tajay
Spears.
Yeah.
When the King Henry's ready to step down, Spears looks like the guy that might just slide right in because they're slowly giving him more and more work, and he's making havoc with it.
He's doing well. Next game is Washington at Atlanta. The reason I'm highlighting this one is mainly because these are the two teams that I'm looking at.
This is the battle for quarterbacks.
The battle for Kirk Cousins. Pretty much.
I can see that.
So, back to Washington.
Oh, I don't think he'll go back there.
I mean, it's a different coaching staff.
This is true. And it's a whole new organization.
Yeah,
so maybe
whole new organization.
Well, that'd be weird.
There's better receivers.
Yes.
Like he's got some guys there.
The step down from Jefferson to Terry McLaurin is pretty far, but the step up from Addison to McLaurin and Dotson and all that.
Yeah.
Man.
Like he's got the offensive line, the defense,
a running game. Brian
there.
Robinson Jr. is going to establish himself.
So these are the two teams that I'm looking at. Washington to me is probably the least likeliest of them, just because of that situation there. He used to be there, but there's that opportunity.
I say that, but with how broken the NFC is right now, if you're Washington and you watch Dallas lose on Monday night, you have to. You almost have to.
You're also Atlanta looking at the fact that you're still in play for first place.
Oh, absolutely.
Your quarterback is terrible, but he had a decent game last week.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean nothing. Kirk Cousins is putting up MVP numbers.
Yes.
And
it's sad.
Playing and on the worst team in the NFL.
And just lost everything.
And just lost Justin Jefferson.
He had
So by the way, if you have
Hawkinson
Addison and Hawkinson in fantasy, Hawkinson's probably going to go nuts.
Addison's questionable this week.
Is he? Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Addison's questionable. So really, right now you're looking at KJ Osborne and
KJ Osborne and Hawkinson. But yeah, so you've got that Sam Howell, the second most sacked quarterback in the NFL, behind Daniel Jones. Yeah. Sam Howell's got some stuff that's good about him, but the fact that he is sacked so much is a major, major, major problem.
Yeah. Now, part of it's going to be offensive line.
It's
I'm
not
assuming
offensive line.
it's not, though?
Mm-mm.
Is it a lot of it?
I'm not going to say they're highly ranked, but they're middle of the pack.
Okay.
Like, they're not terrible. He's trying to extend plays, trying to roll out and do stuff, holding on to the ball too long. Like, he's causing sacks himself.
That's not good. Yeah. Can't have that.
Yeah, so he's an issue. And then on the opposite side, you got Desmond Ritter, who is...
Yeah.
Desmond
They
Ritter.
both found a way to win games.
I was hoping that he was going to be better because I was one of them last year going, you got to give him a shot. He's there. You had to give him a shot. And, well, they did. And, maybe you're in the Kirk Cousins sweepstakes because you're still in it. Or if you continue losing, you're in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. And Drake May.
And if you're, there could be other teams that we might, I don't know if we're going to touch on them or not, but there's other teams that might be coming into the sweepstakes with trying quarterbacks on their rosters soon too. So,
there are. Next game I was Seattle at Cincinnati. So this one
Burrow in the offense definitely bounced back.
Well, I would bounce back. I would say Burrow was healthy because he was the calf issue was messing him up.
Yeah.
So he couldn't put his foot down and put a lot of pressure on it. Now that he's actually able to do that, he had a really, really good game, and so did Jamar Chase.
Yeah, he was slinging it. But he's also about to play against a really good defense.
And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to highlight this is he might have just came back and was like, hey, we're back. Well, now you're going against a really good secondary.
Yeah,
a really good secondary.
Seattle's in first in any division that's not the one behind the best team in football.
Yeah, pretty much. And and Seattle's also coming off of a bye, so they had an extra week of preparation for this game
to get ready for Jamar Chase.
Yeah,
because you don't have T. Higgins.
Because T. Higgins is likely out.
Joe Mixon's just kind of a guy these days, so it's really just worry about Jamar.
Yeah. So this one is kind of close. The last time I looked, because I haven't looked since, but earlier today, it was at Cincinnati by 3. I would honestly take Seattle covering.
They've actually dropped it to Cincinnati at 2.5, so they're actually giving half to the road team.
So boom, I'm taking Seattle on this because Cincinnati's defense isn't that good. They're okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do well, sometimes they don't. Seattle likes to deploy that 2 tight end set, so they're going to be able to have some extra blocking plus K9. K9's going to go crazy. So, Dustin, if you're watching this, you're stupid for declining that trade. And you're also stupid for sending me that idiotic trade. I just hope you're watching. Next one, Indy at Jacksonville. And I had to highlight this one because Gardner Minshew.
Because Minshew Mania!
Revenge game!
4 weeks of Minshew Mania coming right out. He's about to go 3-1. Probably because I'm going to pick him to lose the Jacksonville game. I don't even know who the other 3 games are.
Oh.
But he's throwing, I'm calling it right now, 3 tutties and 300 yards this week against Jacksonville.
Okay.
Gardner goes ham. He'll lose, but he's going ham.
So he's going to get some garbage time points or yards.
Hey, good enough yards that next year someone goes, we might need to give you a look.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what they said about Blake Bortles too.
Hey, they gave guys chances.
Oh, they didn't.
Oh,
That's right. No, this one is, it does suck because Richardson is out, but Minshew gets to show off, and Indy is definitely not going to get rid of him this year because they just can't.
Oh, no, they can't afford
to. They can't afford to.
Especially
they can't
they're
worry
winning.
about.
They're competing.
That they can't work. They have to continuously worry about Anthony Richardson getting hurt.
I was gonna say, this is gonna maybe the vibe that I get from the Minshew and the injuries that we've now are starting, and it's 2 injuries in 2 games for Richardson. It's starting to get very RG3 Kirk Cousins.
It is.
Where
it is.
RG3's our guy. RG3's our guy. Kirk Cousins comes in and wins a couple ball games, plays well for you. RG3 gets healthy. All right, he's back in. It's kind of putting off that vibe where, honestly,
I didn't even think about that.
Minshew's best chance to save his career might just be, sorry you shit the bed on an early pick, Colts, but look how good I'm playing. You can't get rid of me.
Yeah.
It's
very possible. It really is. The best ability is availability.
Yeah.
And you have a quarterback that he's still young, and that's the problem is he's not understanding that hey, bro, this ain't college.
Yeah.
Like, you're not playing those college dudes. You need to go down.
Earlier in the game, he even did slide. Like, he made the conscious decision. So it's like he knows that he needs to, but it's just like in the moment sometimes he goes, oh, no, I'm bigger than that guy.
I'll take him down.
And it doesn't matter if you're bigger than that guy. They're all just as fast as you are now. This ain't Florida, where you weren't good at Florida. And the team's better since you left. So maybe that says something.
I mean, he showed a lot of promise.
Yeah, he has looked good.
I was one of them that was against him. So I'm very happy that he's kind of made me eat crow on how good he's being. So Carolina, Miami, don't really care about talking about that one. Not because it's your team. It's just Carolina.
Heads up, baby.
Like, Miami's going to whoop Carolina. HN is out. So you got Mostert and
Mostert's
Jeff Wilson.
questionable, so we'll probably see Jeff Wilson and maybe Brooks.
Okay.
We're that far down our running back chart.
That's crazy. I'm glad I picked up Wilson. And then you have Minnesota and Chicago. I highlighted this one just because no Jefferson.
DJ Moore, best receiver in the game now.
And this could be the last game we see Kirk Cousins in a Vikings uniform. Like, if Minnesota loses, this is probably where Minnesota deals Kirk Cousins.
For his sake, I hope so.
Because,
I like Cousins.
Like, it sucks because you still have Addison, you still have Hawkinson, like, you have these targets, but at a certain point, you have to look at it and go, yeah, we have to start playing for next year. Like, we're missing the best guy and best receiver in the NFL.
And as good as Kirk Cousins is playing right now, you're getting multiple picks.
Oh yes,
you're getting one
plus
more.
Even though he's on a 1-year deal, you're getting something.
Yeah,
you're getting something good.
If he goes to a team that is in a spot where they think they're going to win, you're getting.
It'll at least be a second.
At least
it won't be a first. It won't be a first.
You don't think he gets first?
No, because it's on a 1-year. It's on a 1-year deal.
I think it might depend on the team because, like, if we truly think, say the Falcons win, and the Falcons decide to make the trade even after winning behind Ritter, but they win, say because the defense or something like that.
Yeah.
They're 4-2. I'm willing to give up a 1 at 4-2 because I can win my division still, and that pick's going to be basically a second. We're looking in the 20s.
I mean, that is true.
So
I still think it's really rich unless the deal is you're trading for him and it's an extension on the contract. Then I can understand.
Because you give him what we've seen what he can do with elite level receivers.
Yeah.
You give him a guy like a Kyle Pitts and Drake
Ooh,
London.
Son.
Bijan out of that background. Bro, the Falcons go from they're a pretender that might make the playoffs to like, hey, do you really want to F with the Falcons? Like, they have one of the best corners in football too.
Yes.
Like,
yes. Like, so to me, I highlighted this because of that. Like, this could potentially be the last game that Kirk Cousins is wearing purple and gold.
Yeah.
And then Justin Fields the last 2 weeks has finally stepped up.
Very true.
And has done really well. And now he's going up against the Minnesota defense it's god awful.
It's almost like the Justin Fields just had a light bulb go off 2 weeks ago, and it just clicked. Like, this is what we're trying to do.
It was the whole they're telling me to do too much. I'm not reacting. I'm doing what they're telling me to do.
Exactly.
So I think they kind of backed off on that and let him react a little bit more.
Let him be a football
be
player.
himself.
Yes.
And he's done better.
And and that'll help them win games. Like there's the skill set
and
around
that's better
him
on your offensive coordinator to understand, hey, I need to change my offense for you.
Which is what we just said 2 weeks ago. When we were talking about how they were trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Yep.
And today it was like they filed the edges of that square. And we're like, look, it fits better.
Yep.
So
it's
hopefully
exactly
it keeps up for the sake of Fields because I like the kid.
Yeah, I do too, man. He's really good. Next game, San Francisco at Cleveland.
Boy.
This one is so.
This game would be great if it wasn't for that Watson might not play.
No, he ain't playing.
For sure.
They've already said that PJ Walker is starting this week. Not even DTR. DTR is not
had one bad game after a great preseason, and they're like, no.
They're like, we're going to go with PJ Walker this time.
No sense. That's
the only bad thing about this game is that we're going to get a third string quarterback in.
Yeah, the 49ers will win on
and then you're already down to your backup running back. But the Cleveland defense is really good.
Yes.
You pounded this, and I didn't believe it. And the Cleveland Browns defense is really good. So this could end up, if the Browns win, it's going to be because the defense made turnovers and outscored what the 49ers put out on offense.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the only way it's going to happen. Other than that, 49ers are going to...
But the problem is that I don't know that the 49ers even turned the ball over. Like, have they turned the ball over yet this season?
They don't.
Like, I know Purdy hasn't thrown a pick. So, have they had a fumble even? I don't think they've actually turned the ball over this season.
I don't know. That's something I'd have to look up.
Craziest stat in sports. 5 games in and no turnovers. Like, that is insane.
But, it could end up being a repeat of what happened last week with the 49ers.
Yes, Christian McCaffrey fumbled 1 time and he lost it.
Okay.
And Brock Purdy has 2 fumbles also. So that's their only turnovers.
But yeah, this could end up being another Dallas Cowboys San Francisco game. I wish we could have talked about that one so that I could have eaten crow, because I would have said that the Cowboys would have done a little bit better. I thought they were going to lose, but I didn't know they were going to play that badly.
Watching San Francisco play right now, I'm having as good as I think Seattle is, as good as I think Philadelphia is getting to point where they're starting to look.
San Francisco's...
I don't know if they're on a different level.
You got San Francisco, Philadelphia, and everyone else.
Like, honestly, if the 49ers play, say, the Chiefs, because I'm going to go with the best quarterback in the league, I don't think the magic of Pat Mahomes is winning that game.
Enough? No.
No, as great as he is, Purdy's proven to be a guy. Like, he's legit. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It might be system related, but I don't give a damn. There's been others that have been in that system that haven't done nearly as good as he has.
Perfect. In my opinion, it's very reminiscent of Tom Brady with New England. It's the perfect system for the perfect quarterback.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if Tom Brady was going to be this guy that we knew he was, or maybe it was just accumulation of being in that system. The coaches that were there pushed him over that edge that got him where he needed. It wasn't Belichick, because Belichick's a defensive coach.
Yeah.
So it was who was there helping him out.
And
with the 49ers and Brock Purdy, Shanahan was already known as a quarterback guru.
Yeah.
So now you have a quarterback guru with a quarterback that gets it and fits the system.
Yes. And
so
it's just
it doesn't matter if he's system. He's perfect for the system.
On the noting of that system and the quarterback guru, I think that's kind of one of the reasons why the Trey Lance trade to Dallas never made sense to me, is because the system of West Coast is very similar. That's kind of what...
Yeah.
If Trey Lance couldn't figure out the West Coast with a quarterback guru like Shanahan in San Francisco, where did they think that he'd figure out the West Coast in Dallas?
Well, so the problem with that is Lance never got the opportunity.
It's true. He didn't get consistent chances
because he got hurt.
Yeah.
So he never truly got that opportunity to step up and take over. And because we might have seen something a lot different, but Brock Purdy just ended up being so good that they're like,
once Garoppolo went down and Purdy took over, it was like, no, that guy is staying.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's Tom Brady, Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah.
It's, you see it and you're like, well, this dude's doing. No, you got to see it. It's Tony Romo, Drew Bledsoe.
It's Tony Romo. It's
Tony Romo, Dak.
Yeah,
it's playing good enough to where you're like, sorry, dude. I know we spent a lot on you, but sorry.
Well, and when you can get a young quarterback, and if you think he's the guy and you can keep him in, the value of what you can get rid of that other quarterback for is just too good. Like, you take the risk at that point. So no, totally agree.
So, the Saints, Houston, Stroud is, in my opinion, right now the offensive Rookie of the Year candidate, leading candidate.
It would be right now if it wasn't for injury, I was going to say him, Bijan, or A-Chain. You can't ignore 400 yards rushing in 3 games.
So I think that's basically where it stops at. Like, there's not really anyone else to even consider.
Not that it's really just jumped off and done anything.
And then New England, Las Vegas. I wrote this down.
Mac Jones loses his job this week.
Yeah.
If they lose this game, they go to Bailey Zappi. If Bailey Zappi sucks 2 games in a row,
they go to Matt
Corral.
Matt Corral's not on the team anymore.
I thought he was on the practice squad.
No.
Oh, who bought him up?
He stepped away from the team 3 days after they signed him.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because I think he's in rehab.
Oh.
Yeah. He went to practice a couple of days and then he just disappeared. And I think it's because he actually went to rehab because he was dealing with depression.
He's in a good place to get a chance to
maybe not rehab, but he deals with the depression badly.
All right.
So
Well, he was
That's
in a good
what's
place to
going on.
potentially become a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
because
because he was the second string.
he could be
Because
very
Zappy
Desmond
was on
Reader.
practice squad, and Corral was supposed to be the second.
That's
string.
right, because they brought Corral
So-
was hurt all last year.
Yeah.
That was always the bummer for Corral is that
Yeah.
he never got a chance.
He
got
never
hurt,
got an
and
opportunity.
then you got the top pick, and if you're the Carolina Panthers, and honestly, you probably could have not traded up just because you could have seen if you had anything Corral.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you got that game, and then you have Detroit and Tampa Bay. This one is, to me, it's pretty good because Detroit, this is the first time they've been 4-1 since you were born in 1991.
Yeah.
That's when Barry Sanders was 2 years into the league. Herman Moore was a rookie.
And tool time was huge.
And Rodney Peete was the quarterback.
Yes.
That is the last time the Detroit Lions started out 4-1.
And they're not, and those Bucks aren't going to be a slouch.
So, and they're not. Baker is the third best quarterback while under pressure. Not
Well, he played for the Browns, used to it.
exactly, but he was never good at under pressure.
Oh, true. That was part of the
But
problem.
now all of a sudden, you're really good under pressure. Now you've got Mike Evans and Godwin, so you have some
there's
guys
some-
to
definitely
be able
some
to
helpful
get
receiving
it to.
options.
But I mean, all of us, like, there's this massive resurgence with Baker Mayfield. Tampa Bay is one of those teams at one point when they signed Baker, a lot of people are like, all right, well, they're going to be drafting a quarterback. They may not be.
No. If Baker keeps holding up, he's making good decisions. They're winning games. They're over 500 right now, and nobody would put them at that. I had them as the worst team in football. I was ready for them to get Caleb Williams. That was who won the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. So, no,
Well,
100%.
I thought Arizona was going to be there.
Yeah, but Arizona decided that they were going to be pretty decent too.
Yeah, they decided.
Like, literally both the teams that we really said, those were our two that we were like, we're both dying on the sword. Like, this is who we think. But the other part that you have to factor for the Lions is probably not going to have Gibbs. Possibly won't have St. Brown for the second week in a row. You have Jamison Williams back, but he's kind of getting eased back in.
And man,
They didn't really use him down the
might be
field.
kind of a bust.
It could be. It's questioning right there. You've got, David Montgomery looked really good, but we also know that David Montgomery is not a guy to shy away from getting banged up.
That is true.
Kind of what got him off the Bears.
That is true.
So, is he ready to carry 30 carries in a row? I don't think so, but we'll see. I hope so, because I like the guy.
One of my deliveries came. And then you have Arizona and the Rams. This one's not really all that exciting.
Rams should destroy.
They should,
Rams
but
look pretty
for some
solid.
reason, Arizona just decides they want to
Play good football. Yes.
But James Conner's out. So
This is
it's
true.
either
It's
going
that
to be
rookie kid.
DeMarcado or it's going to be Keontae Ingram.
Yeah.
It's one of those two. In my opinion, I think it's going to be Ingram. Ingram was the RB2. He's just been out with a neck injury.
Yeah.
And he's
But
back.
the kid, I wouldn't be shocked if they see a decent split though. Eamon Cotta, he looked pretty well in the reps he got.
Yeah.
Like he had 9 for 59 or something.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It was also who they were playing.
But the Rams having Cooper Kupp back with as good as Puka's been, they've
And
got
Tutu.
their Tutu, Kyron Williams, Matt Stafford. Like the Rams have all the pieces on offense.
I do.
The Rams are one of those teams, once again, you look at how questionable the NFC is. If you see the Vikings fire sale, you're calling the Vikings up for 1 or 2 decent defensive pieces they got. They got
Who do
Hunter,
they have?
was it Daniil Hunter?
Daniil Hunter? Not yet. Well,
You put Daniil Hunter on that line next to Aaron, was it? I should blank him then.
Aaron Donald?
Yeah, Aaron Donald. I said his name and I went, you put those on the line together though, and now you're significantly boosting the pass rush. You can't triple team Aaron Donald if you got Daniil Hunter on the other side.
Right. Yeah.
So, and in that division you have to because that division's monsters.
Yeah, that is true. Next game, Philly, New York Jets. Philly's going to walk off on that.
I don't.
Jets are.
I'll say this though: the Jets decided last week. They came out and they said Bijan as far as the Brees Hall, we're taking the handcuffs off. F it. Give him it, and he went off.
It's because Dalvin Cook sucks.
Well,
they were like, okay, Dalvin is really bad, so yeah, we're just trading Wizard off. Go for it.
And I think there was a little bit of worry that he wasn't 100% because of how we saw with like J.K. Dobbins last year and some other guys. It took some time. They were just
Dobbins came back too fast.
Yeah, Dobbins did come back too fast for sure.
So New York Giants, Buffalo's. if Buffalo doesn't destroy New York, I don't know. But there might be some tension going on between
as
Josh
long
Allen
as-
and Trevon Diggs. I mean, not Trevon,
Stephon
Stephon
Diggs.
Diggs.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Like,
It's really weird.
they're so moody. Those two are.
And then you have
long
the
as James
game
Cook goes
of the
off.
week.
And that's what we're calling Monday Night Football now?
Well, it's Monday Night Football. It's the game of the week. And it also happens to be the Dallas Cowboys. And it also happens to be against your former offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore.
We're going to go out and watch. We're going to go and spend what we're going to hear on Tuesday. I'm just going to try to say this. Especially because you've now lost Van Der Esch possibly for his career.
With another neck injury.
Yeah, you're down. You don't have Diggs. Yes, Bland has looked okay, and you've got Parsons, but guys are falling left and right. That defense can only stay elite through so many injuries.
Defense was never elite.
Well, yeah.
Who was it? I was watching a clip of it, and they basically I forgot who it was, but they basically called the Dallas Cowboys defense the bully. They bullied bad offenses, and then when the big bad bully came in, they got bullied.
Yeah, I can see it.
So they've been not beating up some bad offenses.
Yeah.
But when it comes to actually playing decent offenses, they have not been able to replicate what they were doing.
And they're getting,
so they're basically faking.
I would totally bet this line though, because right now they're making Dallas is a 2.5 point favorite on the road.
Oh, it's a 2.5 now? Or was it 2?
It's a 2.5 point Dallas favorite on the road, and I'm sorry. I know Chargers don't get much of a home field advantage, so it's probably gonna be more like a Cowboys home game anyway. In all honesty, but I think if you're the Chargers, you're just used to that at this point. You're probably getting Eckler back. It sounds like.
Yeah.
You Keenan Allen's looked fine. Johnson. I mean, you've got pieces. Palmer. Herbert's looked great, and like you said, I think if anyone's motivated to go out and have a great game, it is.
It's Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
Because Kellen Moore heard all the crap that it was his fault that they suck. And now the
you're
offense
looking at
sucks.
the offense.
And you realize that it's not Kellen Moore that was calling bad plays. You know, maybe I was giving Dak a little too much credit. Maybe there was some restrictions given to Kellen Moore because Herbert's thrown 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns, and just 1 pick. So he's slinging it around without a problem.
Yeah.
And that's after losing Mike Williams for twice because Mike Williams missed some time and then came back and got hurt again. It's not like he's had all of his top guys. He's missed Eckler most of the season. Herbert's gone out there and done it with pretty much Keenan Allen, a rookie receiver that hasn't done much, and Palmer, who we knew was on the team already.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, Gerald Everett's been non-existent, and he was a guy that a lot of people thought could be very good this year because of Dallas using Cowboys tight ends and that offense. So, it's going to hurt some feelings, but I think the Chargers win. I don't think it's going to be a hard game.
If I'm being honest, I think the Chargers are going to win too. I think Kellen Moore's going to go into this. He's going to go, look, I'm going to go in there and I want to prove I was not the problem. Because we're clearly seeing problems, so much so that CeeDee Lamb is not even staying close to the team at football games. Even in a game where they blew out the Patriots, he stood away from the team because he's been upset because the offense sucks.
Yeah, and they're not targeting him.
Yeah,
that was the thing. That he's getting. They were talking.
He has 20 fewer catches, not even targets, catches than he did at this point last year.
Yeah, it's insane that you're not they were talking about it, and I guess they interviewed Jerry Jones even, and they asked him. They were like, "What do you feel like you need to get the ball to CeeDee Moore?" And he was just like, "No, what?
Yeah.
Do the Vikings need to find ways to get the ball to Jefferson? Yes. Is CeeDee Lamb Justin Jefferson? No. But is CeeDee Lamb? You have Pollard and you have Lamb. That's it. Everybody else.
And if I'm being honest, I hate to say this. Lamb is what Juju was in Pittsburgh.
Ooh, I don't know. I think Lamb's better than that.
No. He's a really good receiver 2. He's a lower tier receiver 1. Because Juju, when he was across from Antonio Brown, was a stud.
True.
Once he got the reins to be that true number 1 without Antonio Brown taking the number 1 cornerback, he struggled. Now, Lamb didn't struggle last year because the offense was actually good.
And I think that the problem is the
Lamb did better when Amari Cooper was on the other side.
Yeah, I can see that. I I can see what you're saying there. I don't know that I'm ready to put Juju, because Juju is just
No, we'll see.
falling.
We're looking at Juju now.
Yeah.
But
Juju
Juju
earlier
in
in
his
his
first
career.
3 years,
True.
the first 2, while he was opposite of Antonio Brown, he was an absolute stud. Then that 3rd year, when it was just him, all of a sudden we were like, oh, okay, so he's just a good receiver too. Like a really good receiver too.
I
Like,
can see
I'm
that.
honestly believing that's what Lamb is. Like, he's still a really good receiver. He's not at that other tier. Like, he's at that next level.
I don't think he has the athleticism of some of those guys that kind of separate the tier. Like, I think he runs the routes just as good as a Jefferson or any of those guys. Like, he gets open.
Yeah.
He gets his separation. But the difference is CeeDee Lamb's not going to go and beat you on a jump ball.
Nope.
He's never going to do that.
Mm-mm.
He's very Edelman-like.
In a way, yeah.
Julian Edelman,
Yeah.
Wes Welker, like those guys that they're open and you're going to get them the ball and they're going to catch 100 balls a season probably, but you're never going to throw up a jump ball to Julian Edelman in the corner. No, it's not because he's white. It's just because you're not. Like,
Well, I hate to do this, but I left my paper at home on the next thing that we're going to get to. I've got some stuff, but I had a lot of actual information written down. But now we're going to get to a cool little segment that we're going to call Would You Rather.
oh yes,
That I stole from a reel that I saw.
yes.
And-
Facebook provides content
Yes.
ideas.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't feel bad for stealing that stuff.
Uh-uh.
Because, like, I watch 50 different people do the videos where they walk up to someone in the mall and go, if you don't say anything into the mic, I'll buy you anything in the store.
Yeah.
They all do that shit now.
Yeah.
And one person started that. So, anyway, I don't
So,
feel bad. This
yeah.
is just how
It's not,
content grows.
it's not a steal. It's more of, hey, thanks for the
Yeah, thanks for
the
your
idea. We're
I'll
gonna
still watch
use
your feeds.
your idea.
Yeah, I like your
So-
feeds, and now you'll hear my version of the same content.
So, from what happened last week with the Cowboys, I really wanted to, and because most of our audience is, Cowboys fans.
All 10 of you from last week's view.
So, I figured we'd start with a Would You Rather, Dak or.
Okay.
So, I'm going to name some players that we're not going to talk about.
It's the first time in my life I've played a game like this, and my team actually had a quarterback.
All right. So, guys that we're not going to include Mahomes,
Well, yeah.
Hurts, Josh Allen, Tua,
Any of your
woo,
currently MVP candidate kind of people.
Lamar, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, and Matthew Stafford. We're also not going to talk about Jimmy Garoppolo, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson.
Ooh, I don't know if Kenny Pickett's a fair rule out.
Really? Okay.
On age, and there's a lot of issues with offensive calling in Steelers right now.
Oh, yeah, trust me. That was something that came to mind. You got Watson, Love, Baker, Hobbs, Danny Nichols. Yeah, I wrote that down as Nichols instead of Danny Downs. Danny Nichols, Zach Wilson, Sam Howell, Brian Tannehill, Carr, Ritter, Mack, and Gardner Minshew.
Those are the list of who I'd rather have.
Those are the list of the people we're not talking
We're
about.
not going to talk about. Okay.
So, I'm changing Pickett. I'll move him over. All right, so, would you rather Dak or Aaron Rodgers?
Dak.
Dak?
I'm going to take Dak. I think we saw with the Achilles that Rodgers may be the better football player still, but he's fragile.
Okay.
He's at the end of the rope. He's 38 years old, and I will play an age bias on a lot of things for sure because I can provide something that I can still work with. At a certain point, you're done.
Right, yeah.
And Dak's probably done with what he is, but we've also seen he can be successful when the system is better. And we don't think the system is good in Dallas right now either.
Right. All right. Dak or Kyler Murray?
Kyler Murray.
Okay.
I think the organization the Cardinals have is awful. And that if Kyler Murray found a way to play in Dallas, his hometown, I think he'd be relished because he'd want to be at home and he doesn't want to be in Arizona.
Yeah, I still don't think he'd want to play in Dallas because he doesn't like the Cowboys.
Well, that's true. He doesn't. He just
he
liked to
grew
play
up
in their
disliking
stadium.
them.
Yeah, he just wanted their stadium.
Yeah.
Let's say better organization for him. I think because of his maturity issues, the problem is the organization. But
Okay.
the talent is still better.
Yeah. All right. Dak or Geno Smith? They're only going to get harder from here.
I feel like that's the same person. Like, I feel like if you put Dak into Seattle's offense, Seattle might be better, so I'm going to say Dak.
Okay.
I think, yeah, I want to say that. I think Gino, as good as he's looked, he's been very well surrounded.
Yes.
Dak has not been surrounded by as good as what Gino has the last 2 years. Just the last 2 years. Are you going to... I mean, looking wide receiver 1 right now, I would say CeeDee's probably a better true receiver than DK. DK's athletic. But from DK to Tyler Lockett to Jackson Smith and Jigba is like a step before you get to... And then...
How are you going to even...
Dallas offensive line is...
I understand the Jackson Smith and Jigba, but right now the dude is not doing anything.
Well, true, but that's still a third... I mean, he's still getting open, and we've seen his... You look at the metrics he's playing.
I mean, honestly, would you rather have Gallup or JSN right now?
I'd still rather JSN. But I'm going to play I'm going to play upside and what I can develop. I think I can develop a lot more out of JSN than Gallup.
Right. Dak or Justin Fields?
Fields.
I'm there too.
I can't even hesitate there.
This one you're not going to hesitate either. This is going to be a little meatball for you. Dak or CJ Stroud?
Stroud, I'm going to play the H card, and he's looked too good. If you'd asked me that before the draft, I'd probably do Dak.
Yeah, I would have too. Because I didn't think Stroud was going to be near as good.
No, especially how bad he looked against Georgia.
All right, Dak or Bryce Young.
Dak. I think this. I don't often think the size thing is like I didn't play the size issue with Kyler because Kyler's more mobile, but Bryce is kind of a pocket guy. Like that's it. Like. His size is already showing that it could be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And they did.
But he's got pinpoint accuracy.
He does.
He just don't have anyone that can get open.
He does. And really and truly, you're right. The only person getting open right now is Adam Thielen, which is crazy to think. 35 or whatever he is. Yeah. I'm still going to take that.
Okay.
I don't know. That one's a hard one.
All right. So we talked about this earlier. Dak or Anthony Richardson. We talked about this earlier because Anthony Richardson had some injuries. Yeah. Dak has got some injuries too.
Dak does have the ankle, but I mean that's
like he's not running now.
He's not, and I think that's one of the worries with Dak is that I think ever since the ankle broke, the mental part of the game he hasn't been able to beat.
Nope.
And that's sad because my favorite thing about Dak Prescott is he is a mental health awareness advocate to the extreme. And when you're scared to do something that's part of the game, that's a mental health issue. Mm-hmm. Like that's literally telling yourself you can't or you're scared. Like you need to address that issue. And I think that's really and truly the thing that I'm not saying it's the whole problem with Dak, but it has hampered his career the last 2 years. So because of how good Richardson's looked, I'm going to take Richardson and hope that I can do like we did with Tua and teach him to not take every hit possible.
There you go. That's all right. So here is where it's really going to get harder. All right, Dak or Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
Not gonna.
Dak or Brock Purdy.
Oh, see, this is where you run your problem because
this little spot right here is the toughest spot.
The way I look at it is I try to switch their situations. And if I switch their situations, I almost think that Purdy would be okay in Dallas at this point because they're running a similar style of offense to what he's running in San Francisco. He's doing fine. So I think that Purdy would walk into Dallas and Dallas wouldn't drop off. But do I think that, oh my God. I'm going to have to take Purdy because of, like we said, the mental part of the running. I know Purdy's not scared to take off if he has to. So I'll take Purdy. Oh, God.
Now, we got three, let me say that back. You know what? I'll go ahead and do this one. Kenny Pickett.
All right. Pickett, I think, is just still system problems. I don't know.
Matt Canada is, we don't know enough yet because
I think
Matt Canada is so bad.
I think Kenny Pickett, we know, is athletic. I think we've seen him make good throws. Yeah. The hands was the issue, and that hasn't been an issue. He's holding on to the ball. Yeah. I think that Kenny Pickett, let me say this though. I think if you switch their situations, they both struggle.
Yes.
But I think that if Kenny Pickett gets under a new OC, Kenny Pickett's a very successful football player.
I think so too.
I
think
I'm not ready
he's
to.
the only one because I had him on this list, and then I actually dropped him down because I was like, the OC is going to stop it.
And that's my issue. Is it comes down to the play calling because that's holding back Dak. I feel like at times too this year too. So
okay, Dak Prescott or the number 1 pick in the same draft, Jared Goff.
Jared Goff. I don't think Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff got in a little bit of a rut in
those last couple years
in LA, but I don't think that Jared Goff was the problem in LA. And the more I watch him continue to play football for the Lions, I think honestly the thing that's saved Jared Goff's career is Dan Campbell.
Yes,
and I think it's because
and
he was true, but at Cal he was a golden boy. All through high school, he was a golden boy. He gets to the NFL, he's playing under the lights of Los Angeles. He's on the Rams. He's got the flashy coach. He's got all that. They were putting all the money into him. He's always the golden boy. It almost was like he responded to getting knocked down, and Dan Campbell looked at him and said, sorry, don't be a bitch. You're a football player. Let's go. And instead of saying, oh, I'm in my feelings, like we see a lot of athletes do now, get in their feelings and let that be the end of them.
Vince Young. That's
yes.
what happened to him.
He looked at that and he said, you know what? You're right. I am better than this. I can do this by just putting in a little extra work. And so, no, I would say that I think Jared Goff is putting himself on the map of top 10 quarterbacks by the end of the season.
Oh, I believe so. And I think this, the move, and this is something that I wanted to get to, is with Jared Goff, is the Rams saw the issue that they were having, and they decided to move on.
They did. They jumped right on. And props to them because you did get a guy that, I don't know that Stafford now is better because of the age and the history stuff, but at the time, Stafford was the better football player and he's going to help you win right away. Yeah. And it worked out perfectly.
I still think Stafford is the better football player. He was, he didn't have anything in Detroit because of the deal. They were able to put more stuff around Goff.
This is true.
They
utilized
I think that. if the same situation, I think Stafford would probably be even better in Detroit. Okay. Because there's so much. Because he can work with anything. And that's why I have Stafford on that's why I had Stafford on the automatic. We're not even going to do it because he's up.
I can see it. Plus Goff is younger, right? Goff? No, I guess they're the same age. Same draft, so not the same age. Goff and Dak.
Yeah, that's it. So these next two are going to be tough because I don't know how you're going to go. I know I went on one, and once I started looking up information, I had to kind of back up a little bit on the other. All right, but we're going to go with Dak or Russell Wilson.
Dak.
Okay.
I'm going to play it on the age. And
he's only 2 years older.
Yes, but I also know I'm going to also play the attitude card here. Okay.
Mr. Unlimited.
Yes.
Mr. Unlimited.
Russell Wilson in his early Seattle years, all the way through up until that really the last season and a half, was very Dak-like, where he was the team leader. Like everyone wanted to play with him. Mm-hmm. And it seems like now,
apparently not Marshawn Lynch.
Well, yeah, but not Marshawn Lynch. But Marshawn Lynch don't play with nobody. He just knew he was good. But you look at the even with the issues in Dallas, people still look at Dak as a leader of men. He is a true leader of men, and that matters to me in the football room, in my locker room. Mm-hmm. I think that I can adjust my problems, like we said, the offensive system being the issue there. I think that you put Russell Wilson in Dallas, and Dallas hasn't won a game this season. Well, they win the Giants game because of the defense.
So, this season, Russell Wilson has 200 more passing yards. Russell Wilson has 6 more touchdowns. He has 2 fewer interceptions. He has a 106.1 passer rating, but he's been sacked 15 times. So, Dak, and put in his perspective, Dak has an 87.5 passer rating.
Yes.
And been sacked 9 times.
Now,
that's with what we're thinking is Russell Wilson has been terrible this year.
He hasn't been great, but he has been better. But I will say, I still think that there's some inflation to the numbers. Denver is awful and has played a lot of garbage time. They lost 70-20 to a team.
Dak has almost as much garbage time passing yards as almost anyone else in the NFL, because he has played in last year. I used to have these arguments with people. Dak last year.
Well, yeah, last year
almost
he did
half of his games, like they were like, oh, he had this many passing yards, and like you go through the games, you're going, well, they were down by like 4 touchdowns during this game, and he got like 300 in the last quarter,
but
like when no one cared. So
like the thing I look at,
I know you can look at it that way, but you have to put into perspective that you have to, if you're going to look at him that way, you have to look at everyone that way.
No, I
because
get that,
once you start doing that, you're going.
You're also factoring in the Broncos played Washington, who doesn't have a good defense.
I mean, Dak Prescott to play the Giants.
Right. But his defense put them ahead so much they just ran the ball. They didn't have to. Whereas
Denver
Denver was losing and they had to play their way back.
The Cowboys' offense has to be dumbed down so much.
Well, that's true. Apparently they haven't even put their 7-step drops in yet.
Because they don't even want Dak to throw downfield because they're worried about him throwing these not difficult throws, but ones that are not quick, wide open. Like, if you watch their offense, they're going, Dak is out there going, I'm not going to throw as many interceptions as I did last year. And then you go watch the offense, they're like, well, no shit, because you're just throwing like these little bitty things where you're making sure. Like, that's the problem with the offense, and that's the problem with Dak now, is mental health thing. He's so scared of throwing interceptions that he doesn't want to make risky throws. He wants something simple. And that's exactly what Arizona, and that's exactly what the 49ers did, is they took that away and made him throw, and he struggled.
Yeah, and I can see that. I think, but I also think it also.
So you're still taking Dak over Russell Wilson?
I'm gonna I still think I'd lean to Dak, because I think that if we put Dak in Denver, the record's probably the same, but I think Dak's numbers aren't too dissimilar. Like the games they've played, who they've played. I think that. I don't know that Russell Wilson does throw a better deep ball, so he probably has a better game against San Francisco than Dak did. That's for sure.
I mean, if I'm being honest, like, I'm not trying to be a Dak hater, but I think Russell Wilson is better than Dak. Even at this stage in his career, because I mean,
and he's looked. And Russell Wilson definitely bounced back from how bad last season was. Like he was awful last season. Yeah. So. I guess some of that has to go to Sean Payton for coming in and helping him out. But I still say.
Here's the last one.
All right.
Dak or Kirk Cousins.
Oh, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
Hell, Dak goes out and struggles. Dallas calls up Vikings. And he calls the Vikings and goes, we'll give you Dak. We will trade you it knowing that you'll have a starting quarterback. You don't have to draft one, and you can give us your guy.
So without thinking of anything, where would you put Dak at? Quarterback what?
Just overall quarterbacks in general?
Yeah.
Okay, this is where my having a crappy memory game comes in. So I'm going to need to look at like a list.
Nope, don't look. Nope. Just right off the cuff. Right off the cuff. Right now.
16th.
You put him at 17.
Damn, that was a pretty good guess. I was trying to shoot the number there.
That's exactly where I put him.
Yeah, 16, 17. Yeah, I mean it. And that was saying that you ruled out some guys that are below him that you instant ruled out. Like, who'd you say that were some quick instant rule outs?
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson, because Deshaun Watson's on.
He hasn't proven that he's going to bounce back.
So, Jordan Love. At one point, you're kind of going, hey, and then you're like, he's too rocky.
Yeah,
he's too rocky, so you got to rule.
You got to see what he's got there.
So Baker's rocky right now. He's on a high, but we don't know when that one's going to.
We can't guarantee that Baker's going to stay.
And then after that, like the only quarterback even mentioning is Carr, and he's not even doing well.
Carr, guys like that. Okay.
So so you actually have him at 17 now. With that being said, you put him over Aaron Rodgers, so we don't have to worry about a retirement moving him up. Now let's look at the fact that next year, you're probably going to have Caleb Williams and Drake May.
You both hear those.
Mm-hmm. And those are, well, we don't even know 100% if Caleb Williams is going to do it or not, because he may not. But Now
says he's
you're
gonna play flex.
pushing Dak to 19 because you're
because I'm gonna take
because you're going to put those two guys over.
Yeah,
there.
I'm gonna play the upside card and how good
So
they both play.
now you're looking at the fact that you're paying this guy $60 million to be on your team,
Well,
and he's the
that's
19th.
his cap hit, right? Or is that actually a salary?
So
His actual salary is 60. I thought it was like 42 million a year or something. I mean, it's still bad. Oh, because of all the restructures, I bet it's changed it.
So next year his contract is $59 million, and his dead cap would be 61.
Wow. And then 36 for next year.
So you're paying $61 million or $59 million
They ain't going anywhere.
for the
19th best
at that point 19th best quarterback in the
saying
NFL.
that, and that's saying that we don't see like Jordan Love
Jordan Love,
turning around
yeah.
and get hot, or we don't see a hey, when Minshew goes 3-1 and throws for 1,000 yards, like
Kenny Pickett change it. So the rest of them, they're more likely going to stay below him. But I mean, you're basically looking at the fact that Dak's best shot next year is the 19th best quarterback, and he's going to be on your team for $59 million.
He's on your team.
Well,
my
so
quarterback was already safe.
The reason why I wanted to do this for certain is because of that, and because there are so many quarterbacks that are truthfully better or have the opportunity
to become
very quickly to be better.
Makes sense.
So you're looking at that and going, $59 million for a guy that's not even a top 15 quarterback anymore. Because here, and this is why it matters, is Dak Prescott is in the same category as Jared Goff, Russell Wilson, not even Kirk Cousins, but Geno Smith. You've got this little circle. They're good. They're not great. They're not terrible. They're going to win you games. They're never going to get you to a Super Bowl. They're always going to be on that cusp of playoff. You're always going to be known for that. You're never going to get further than that.
Which is
if you reach the Super Bowl, you're still not going to be considered a Super Bowl contender the next year.
No, but
you're going to be a playoff contender.
It does buy into what we talked about at the beginning when we were talking about the Yankees, where the Dallas Cowboys can't rebuild.
Exactly.
So you have to, you kind of have to keep Dak, because now, you know, Dak
Cowboys have rebuilt multiple times.
Well, yeah, but nowadays it's harder than that.
Yeah. But the reason I say this is because when it comes to a quarterback, the cheaper you can pay your quarterback, the more you can build your team and push yourself to the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Once you have
look at Brock Purdy and what they surrounded him with.
Once you have that contract on that quarterback, unless you have an elite quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, you're going to struggle trying to get further than just the playoffs.
Correct.
Because you're having to pay so much on that guy, knowing that he's not elite, knowing that you need the pieces around him to get it to work.
Correct.
That's why the problem with $59 million and even extending him is something that I think is dumb. Honestly, I think you need to, you have to have him on the roster this year. You have to have him on the roster next year. He is not bad, but you're never going to win with him.
You're
going to be in the playoffs. You're just never going to be in the Super Bowl because you can't put money anywhere else.
And I think that people look at, it's almost like owners look at guys like, the fluke events where like the Trent Dilfers and the guys like that of the world, that Joe Flacco's, that they were all right guys their whole career, and then they got there and they got fired, and they're just kind of hoping that that's what their guy does.
Yeah.
But you're having to pay them like the elite level guy.
You got to set the market. You got to reset the market. So we got to pay him this so that these other guys get paid more. Like, no, you pay your good quarterback good money. You don't pay your good quarterback elite money so that other elite quarterbacks get paid more.
But the problem they run into that is that's when you start running into players association. because that's the problem there.
Go
like
for
right
2
now,
years every time then.
like right now, you're looking at we're going to run into the same problem with Tua's. Tua's about to have to get paid. And Tua's numbers tell you, if you ignore the history of injuries, that he needs to get paid like Joe Burrow and Josh Herbert and all those guys. Like, when he's on the field, he's that guy. Like, there's no denying it.
He definitely is.
The problem is, I need to see him play a full season before I can tell him he needs $45 million a year, $50 million a year, like these guys are getting.
I mean, yeah. So I mean,
that's kind of where it's at.
The last 2 years has not played a full season. Yeah.
Also true.
So is he starting to turn into? I hate to say it because this is my guy, but is he starting to turn into Tony Romo? Like, he's starting to get those injury bugs. He is getting older, so it's some of those injuries are starting to build, and it's going to start affecting him.
And I think
we've
part of
already
it's the
seen
offensive line.
ankle. Well,
I know they invest a lot in that offensive line, but they invest a lot of. They also rely on some of the old guys a lot.
Yes.
And those guys are not staying on the field.
So and the problem that I have, like with that situation, is go back and we look at how good he was when he was younger, and you go, but look what he did here. Like, well, I mean, there was 3 Hall of Fame players on that offensive line, and 2 of them were perennial Pro Bowlers that whole time. Like, he was loaded on the offensive line. He could literally just sit back there, take a nap, and then get up and throw the football.
And that was why we always that's kind of what made the Dak Romo situation so strange then, is because that team was built for Tony Romo.
Yeah.
They had done it. They had saved money on Romo. They had gotten the offensive line together. They had it. Like, that was the best team that Dak Prescott took over. That was the best team that Tony Romo was ever going to get in his career. And that was really going to be the season that we would have gotten to look at Romo's career and go, that's the guy Dallas has had this whole time. Y'all crapped on him. You've given him shit. As a Dolphin fan, I'd have taken Tony Romo's entire career in a hot second.
Like, people, it is crazy with how many people just look down on what he did.
Yes.
And you forget how bad the offenses were, how bad the defenses were,
and how
bad the offensive line was.
The guy that he was making receivers. Like, that's the sign, in my eyes, the sign of a great quarterback, Laurent Robinson.
Laurent Robinson.
Yes.
Yes.
The sign of a great quarterback isn't a guy that has to have elite weapons around him.
Dak Prescott.
It's a guy that can take elite prospect weapons and make them better, like we've seen a Cousins do with a Jefferson, like we've seen Jamar Chase do with Joe Burrow. They make those guys better.
Yeah.
The thing that makes Patrick Mahomes so good is that Patrick Mahomes can go out with Rasheed Rice and all these guys that haven't done shit yet and win football games. Peyton Manning was able to take guys that were... Reggie Wayne was just seen as a good football player. Reggie Wayne's a Hall of Fame caliber football player because of Peyton Manning. Marvin Harrison is a Hall of Fame caliber football player because of Peyton Manning. Dallas Clark, we'd never know that guy was Peyton Manning. I don't like Tom Brady at fucking all. Julian Edelman, Deion Branch,
Wes Welker.
There's a list of guys that he took and was like, no, y'all are good. Y'all have a skill that I'm going to make great. And these are all guys that you look at and go, damn, that dude was solid. No, that dude was good. It played well, too.
Miles Austin
got paid because of it. And hit, God, hamstrings.
Yeah. When you look at the way, at what it takes for both of those players, there's a clear difference, and it bothers me that people don't see that.
No, that guy,
I don't care how many passing yards Dak ends up having. Yeah. Like, if you have to surround him with elite talent, he is not elite.
And the league is...
They're elite.
Yes, the league is also to a point now, 20 years, we're talking 15 years later. Let's say 15 years probably would be the peak of Romo's career.
Mm-hmm.
So you give me the peak of Romo's career versus the where the league is at now, and you put Romo into these years. And it's kind of like the joke that they said about Dan Marino. Dan Marino played quarterback in the NFL right now. He'd throw for 7,000.
Oh, 100%.
It's so much easier to pass the football now.
Yep.
If you gave me guys that could throw the ball around back then and move them up here, Like, there's a reason Breeze kept playing because the game didn't get any harder.
Yeah, it got easier.
It just got his arm got weak. Like, if his arm strength never fades, Drew Brees is still playing football. Right?
Yeah, probably.
And so, no, the league is so much catered. Like, but now that said, there are guys that are playing now, and I'm not saying that they're not good because the league is easier. Like, if Pat Mahomes played 20 years ago, he'd still be a damn good
Pat
quarterback.
Mahomes, yeah.
Joe Burrow, a lot of these guys you could still send back. Yes,
the elite.
But they have to be those guys. There are guys that we saw, because in hindsight, Tony Romo was basically what the modern day Kirk Cousins. Like, that's what the guy that always put up numbers. The team never won, and somehow it's always
Tony
his
Romo
fault.
was Brett Favre without the Super Bowls.
Well, true.
I mean, that's exactly
that's why
what
Kirk
he modeled
Cousins
himself after Brett Favre.
Yeah, and that's why I always modeled Kirk Cousins to kind of see his Romo. Like, he's that guy that he wasn't the highly touted draft pick. Now he came out of Michigan State, a bigger school, but
He also went in the 4th round.
yeah, but that's not. I'm talking. Romo was undrafted.
Yeah.
We're talking. He wasn't a first round pick, second round pick. Like, first round picks get 50 chances to fail.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's a reason Baker Mayfield's still playing fucking quarterback. If Baker Mayfield was picked in the 7th round, he'd be Gardner Minshew.
Well, wasn't Gardner? Oh,
Picked in
no,
the 7th
Gardner
round.
was in the 7th round.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean that's what it would be. Like, that's high-rated draft picks get more chances to fail. There's a reason Jalen Reagor keeps getting on football teams.
Yeah, which blows.
Because he sucks.
Who's the other receiver that?
Taco Charlton's on like 6 teams now. He's still in the league.
Oh gosh, he was drafted by the Vikings. Receiver.
Jalen Reagor.
No.
He was the one right before Justin Jefferson. No, drafted by the Vikings.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Rager was on the Eagles.
Yeah.
It was oh my goodness, cannot think of his name. But there was a receiver that the Vikings drafted in the 1st round. He was probably top 10 or so, and he's has been terrible. But he's been on like every single team now.
The Lions were the king of Williams Roy Williams that was decent for the Lions, goes to Dallas, gets another chance, goes to someone else. Was it Carlos Rogers? Wasn't he a guy that was an early draft pick for the Lions years ago that kept getting chances with teams after he wasn't working out? Like, you're trying to figure out who he is?
Yes.
But no, I think that it'll all play out. And hell, watch out. There's going to be some guy this year's college crop of quarterbacks.
Laquan Treadwell.
Yes, still getting to play football. Yes, never done anything to prove that he needs to be in the league still.
The only person worse than him since 2000 that the Vikings drafted was Christian Ponder.
Yes, the quarterback.
So Laquan Treadwell is literally number 2 on the list of
worst
the
draft
biggest,
picks. Yeah.
biggest busts or
And-
worst draft picks.
And you were talking about 2 guys, like,
Oh, he was number 20.
there's so many good quarterbacks in college right now.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
We don't even talk about
Okay.
Jaden Daniels for LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, LSU is only 4-2. It's an underachieving season technically, but Jaden Daniels is balling.
Yeah.
1,969
He's got
yards,
a
19
good shot at being a
touchdowns.
second rounder.
He's a
maybe.
guy that could slide into a draft board, sit behind someone, and have a chance at taking a job. You've got Penix. I mean, I know you're not a huge fan of the injury history and the age, but
This is a good one to talk about, though, because you've got number 8 Oregon and number 7 Washington. This is the first game that Washington is actually going to play someone decent.
yes,
So
and
a lot of
Washington-
Penix's stats are against like bottom tier defenses, and let me put it this way: Penix has the third fewest pressures in all of college football.
Yeah.
At 33 pressures.
And I promise you, we watched what Oregon's front does. They will change that.
Yes, 100%.
We watched what they did to Colorado. They're gonna change that.
Yep. So this to me is going to be the game where I say Penix has it or not, because this is a good defense. Now, the injuries are still going to tell me he's not going to be a top 10, top 15,
No.
top 20. Like, to me, it doesn't matter how good he does. He's going to be a second round quarterback.
Is that he's playing
At
himself
best.
into the
Yeah.
second to potential third? Because
So
he's
at-
also older, right? Isn't he like
24.
25, 24? Yeah. Now
So
they're not really paying attention to that anymore. But
right, and it, just because of the COVID years.
Yeah.
But the injury history is going to play a major part, and it doesn't matter if the medicals come back that he's clean. Like, they're going to look at that long history and go, yeah, he's he's going to have that potential of getting hurt really easily because he's torn everything everywhere.
Sure.
So, like you have that issue with him, but it's going to be a good game because this is where we really find out, is he actually the Heisman leader? Because right now he is, but he's going to be going up against a good defense, and you're
another
really going to
very
see
good Heisman candidate quarterback in Bo Nix,
which
also
he's
draft
also
eligible.
Yep, and he's also facing, or not facing, sorry, he's number 1 in fewest pressures.
Yeah.
So let's put this in perspective. I don't know who number 2 is, but Bo Nix is number 1 with 15 pressures. Michael Penix is 3rd with 33 pressures. Shadur Sanders is the worst.
Yeah.
In all of college football with 114 pressures.
And he's thrown for 2,020 yards, 16 touchdowns, and just 2 interceptions. Just understand, he's not coming out this year because his daddy said so. But next year, it very well might be 2 Colorado kids picked first, second. Like, it very well might be Travis Hunter, Shadur Sanders, 1, 2, whatever order you want to take them.
Could be. Unless Caleb Williams decides not to
try to flex it.
Yeah.
And man, what an interesting story that would.
Yeah.
Because then you have to come out if you're a senior. Like, you can't stay. But
yeah, so you got that one. I got to talk about it. The Red River loss for the Longhorns.
Man, I was playing softball, and when I went to the field, Texas had just taken the lead, and I was running out to center field, and everyone's like, "Yeah, Texas is gonna win. We're gonna win." And I'm like, "I don't give a shit." Then I hear, "Fuck, we lost."
So this was my thinking the entire time during that final drive for the Longhorns. I was watching it and I was going, "He's playing for a field goal, and he's not burning enough time." And it got down to it, and I was like, "He's going to kick a field goal." And that final little four downs, I was like, there's too much time. I don't like that. And then all of a sudden, you just watch Oklahoma, and you're like, it's over, it's done.
Yeah, it could be worse. You could be Miami.
I mean, that is true.
Miami was literally playing themselves into like the national talk again. Like they were a team again for a minute, and then you realize that Mario Cristobal doesn't know how to take a knee. And if he would have just taken a knee and won the game, like they're playing North Carolina this week. Like it would have been undefeated North Carolina versus undefeated Miami, playing for the best team in the ACC possibly, right there with Florida State. Like you would have been, holy crap. You know the other thing, talking about ACC. You've got Florida State, North Carolina, Miami, and then we've talked about how good the Pac-12 has been this year. Mm-hmm. These are the 2 conferences that are essentially like blowing up or hanging on for dear life. Man, someone put money in the wrong place. Like they could have held.
Yeah.
Like they could have held up. Because it's just insane to me. Like right now we're looking at Florida State and North Carolina doesn't have a true like win, like that statement win.
Right.
But if North Carolina goes and gets a statement win against Miami because
they're ranked where they are because of Drake May as their quarterback.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why they're ranked that high.
Yeah.
Them being undefeated, if Drake May wasn't their quarterback and they're undefeated, they probably wouldn't even be ranked.
Yeah, it'd be in the 20s, somewhere down there. That's where they're
trying.
This late in the season, they give you the 20s.
So. Yeah.
But, I mean, because you can keep 2 lost LSU ranked for 22 because...
Okay, so, that makes sense.
No, I mean, but honestly, like, on the note of college football, we've got another good quarterback prospect to note out. It'd be J.J. McCarthy, who's looked very good.
Yes,
another name. That's a junior right there that could easily come out himself.
Yeah. If he does, I think there's
I've seen first round mocking on him.
So I posted one in one of the groups, one of the mock draft groups with him in the top 15 as the quarterback 4 below Quinn Ewers. But after this week, I think Quinn Ewers might actually. He might be bottom first, maybe second round quarterback.
The combine for quarterbacks is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because we're going to get to see a lot of them forced to do a lot of that NFL style workout and work things. It's really going to make or break a lot of these guys.
And one of the problems, and you know what? It may not be a problem in the NFL because it's not a problem for Brock Purdy. You don't have to have a cannon Like, the cannon is nice.
You got to be able to hit 20 yards down the field on a dart. Other than that, you're good.
Yeah.
Like
you don't have to
Tua
launch it. Because
Tua's the
right
fastest
now,
receiver in the league, and he can't throw it 40 yards downfield.
like right now, one of the problems with Quinn Ewers is he can't throw it deep. Like his deep ball accuracy is terrible. He cannot get it to Xavier Worthy for some reason. Like, so when it comes to that, like, a lot of teams may not be too worried about that because they're looking at Brock Purdy and you're going, and even Tom Brady. Like, a lot of these quarterbacks, you don't need that big, strong, just home run hit every single time because, I mean, look at Patrick Mahomes now.
Peyton Manning's last Super Bowl, he was throwing ducks.
Patrick Mahomes, he's not even throwing those long balls anymore because he doesn't have to. Yeah. Like, once NFL teams adjusted to that deep ball, like, teams had to force themselves to dial it back a little bit, other than, Miami, who's got every speedster known to man, so teams don't know how to guard that yet because there's too many fast people.
Well, they're getting hurt now, so don't worry.
So,
speed gets hurt.
It is kind of one of those things where Quinn Ewers does kind of have that pedigree where you're like, you don't need this. As long as you can do this, we can work with that. So he could end up still being a first-round pick, but J.J. McCarthy, man. Like, J.J. McCarthy looks really good. He's worked himself up this year into easily calling himself.
And they've really opened that offense. Michigan used to be so just run. And this year it's like, it's almost, and you have one of the best coaches you're going to get in college football. Like, Jim Harbaugh, he could be coaching an NFL team right now.
And he probably
I don't doubt that. He probably will be. Yeah. And honestly, he might go coach a team where J.J. McCarthy ends up.
Could be.
Because you already know your quarterback. But that's
Atlanta.
I think that this year's quarterback cluster, this class of all the quarterbacks that we've seen are coming out this year and even next year, is kind of why we saw a lot of teams last year just say, well, we'll give Sam Howell a shot. Yeah. We'll give, because there are so many. I haven't even said, there's guys that are overachieving that could be mid-round picks that have some upside chances. Jordan Travis has just killed it for Florida State this year. I mean, these are guys that they keep winning games. You get to see them in those big national spotlight games. That's going to make or break. And then we get to combines and senior bowls and all that other stuff. It really could. Like, there's so many good quarterbacks in college right now. There really are. A lot of it.
And, while we're on it, this draft is pretty loaded, especially even at receiver. Like, you talked about LSU earlier. Malik Neighbors is an absolute stud.
We talk about the receiving class and we say, there's Harrison Jr., but there's a lot of good cards.
If Marvin Harrison wasn't in this draft, Malik Neighbors is the easy receiver one. Yeah. But you just have Marvin Harrison in this class. So
there's like I said, there's a couple of, like you said Xavier Worthy, another guy. He's young though, I think. I can't remember his age.
No, he's a junior.
Yeah, so there's another guy that's draft eligible.
You got Emeka Egbuka.
Yes, from Ohio State.
Looking at right here, Keon Coleman from Florida State.
Yes, that's the one I was about to look for. Say his name.
Rome Adunze. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He's Penix's receiver in Washington.
Yeah. There's a couple of guys on Oregon that showed some mid-round talent.
This class, and honestly, from what I've been looking at, a lot of people are talking about this is one of those classes where it's last year you had some guys, but you only had 3 blue chip guys. They've already talking about this class has more blue chip guys than the last two combined.
I think that's what makes, as good as it's worked out so far for Houston, that's what makes the trade up to get Will Anderson look kind of bad. Well, now he's hit for them because he's been really well for them.
Because going for Will Anderson, he's one of your blue chips.
So that makes
the blue chip you have in this year's class is Dallas Turner, who couldn't beat out Will Anderson last year.
So then
you've got the better Alabama defensive end. Okay. Will Anderson, to me, when it comes to that area, he is that blue chip that you wanted. Yeah. So I will 100% back that one.
Okay. So then as we get into, since we've been hitting on the skill players, college football games, I'm kind of staying with that tick there, looking down. There's some really good games this weekend. We already talked about Oregon and Washington. Washington's a 3-point favorite. It's a home game for them. That's kind of what's going to point them in that favorite thing. Oregon's stupid good though. I think Oregon's got I think Oregon's the best team in the ACC or the Pac-12 right now. So
I think Michael Penix going to have a bad game.
I think Bucky Irving is a stud. So maybe it's the name thing, but you got Texas A&M playing Tennessee. It's a Tennessee home game. Tennessee's not been what everyone thought they could be this year.
Yeah.
Kansas.
I'm one of them who did not believe Milton was going to be.
Well, he hasn't been that bad. He's
he hasn't been
164
great,
yards, 9 touchdowns, 3 picks. But what grade is he? He's a senior? I thought he was a younger kid than that. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. That changes a lot of opinions. But you got Kansas still playing good football. Let's see. There's Florida State. There were some games I saw and then I lost all.
Number 10 USC at number 21 Notre Dame.
Say number 10 USC, number 10. Oh, Louisville, undefeated Louisville after beating Notre Dame last week. Goes to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh should be an easy win, but you're looking at Louisville sitting at 7-0 right now. And once again, the ACC. Washington State goes to Arizona or plays Arizona. Has them at home. Where is it? Air Force and Wyoming. Look, Wyoming. I thought it was a joke when they beat Texas Tech, but Wyoming's 5-1 and has some other decent wins this season.
Really?
Yeah.
I have not been keeping up with them.
They're playing. I didn't want to keep up with them.
Alma mater.
They lost to Texas in Texas, but they beat Michigan State or they beat New Mexico. They beat Fresno State. They beat App State. They beat Texas Tech. Like that's not a bad set of wins.
Okay.
Like they're middle of the road college football program.
If I'm being honest, that's probably a better schedule than Washington's.
Yeah, like that's not a bad. You got to win over a ranked team, and heck, most people think Texas Tech is kind of a border 6-6 kind of team that'll be a bowl game team. Maybe they've been up and down. It's depressing.
You're always saying that because you're a Texas Tech fan.
I am. My wife goes to school there. We have to support. Guns up, bruh. Let's see. There was Miami, North Carolina. We touched on that one. Like you said, USC versus Notre Dame. I think USC needs a statement win.
Yeah, 100%.
In Notre Dame, you're not even the favorite as the undefeated number 10 team in the nation.
It's because your defense is built to be in the Big 12.
Yes, you don't have. USC is going to struggle when they go to the Big 10 because they're not ready to play Big 10 defense.
No, they're not.
Their offense is Big 10 offense. Their defense is not Big 10 defense. That's going to be.
That's because you have a Big 12 head coach.
No. True. Then you run into Kentucky and Missouri. 5-1 versus 5-1. Kentucky's number 24 in the nation. Could be a good ball game there. UCLA, Oregon State, pair of ranked Pac-12 teams again.
Yeah.
15 and 18. Duke been playing really good football. Run ACC, NC State, ACC 4-2. Like what we're talking about here is the ACC. The Big 12 managed to stay alive with their conference. And the ACC and the Pac-12 are falling apart. Like, there's a problem here.
Yeah.
Because Colorado's going to move from the Pac-12 to the Big 12, and they're probably going to win the fucking conference next year.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And honestly,
I really wouldn't.
You're taking Texas and Oklahoma out.
Yeah.
Okay? Now look at the rest of the Big 12. And tell me that Colorado isn't going to come to the Big 12 next year and be a national championship conversation team. Because they should run.
100%.
They should run the Big 12.
Yeah, they're going to
You're
get a lot
keeping
more. And a lot more recruits.
Exactly. You're getting more recruits. You're keeping Sanders. You're keeping Travis Hunter. You're getting another year with guys like Horn, who's only a junior, and all these guys. Like, Colorado is going to go, I might go put $100 on Colorado in the national title next year. Are they going to win it? No. But the odds of Colorado winning it are going to probably be in the 1,000 to 1s.
Probably.
So why wouldn't I put $1,000, $100 on it when I think they're going to roll the Big 12? Like, shit, they're conference champs.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
and so.
Yeah, because when you have the Texas and Oklahoma leaving, like, you're coming in, you are going to be the powerhouse that replaces them.
Exactly. Because you look at it and you think K-State took a step back. TCU was a fluke of all flukes. Mind you, the guy that they're starting now is who they wanted to start over Dunham last year. Like, this is who they wanted to play last year. So Sonny Dykes fucked up in the first place.
He won with Gary
Patterson's team. Gary Patterson.
He won with Gary Patterson's team.
Yeah, he did.
Like, he won with Gary Patterson's recruits. Now that all those recruits are gone, now we're seeing Sonny Dykes' team. Yep. And Sonny Dykes' team is okay.
Yes, and
that's it.
Yeah, and that's going to be part of the issue there. And
so he did good with a team that he didn't recruit.
Mm-hmm.
Now that he's using his recruits, we're seeing what's actually going on.
And he's even not just using his recruits because, like we said, he kept Chandler whatever as the quarterback who was on the last team. And it turns out that kid's just not very good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the best thing that happened at TCU last year was that he got hurt week 1.
Yep.
Because Max Dugan, who maybe will never play a snap in the NFL, but he was still better than what you were getting out of Chandler Jones or Morris or whatever. So
I don't even know his name. I don't care.
I know it's something Chandler. But other than that, I think that kind of takes us as far enough baseball update before we slide into.
Is that the final? Oh no,
It's not final yet, but the Braves the Phillies did beat the Braves, so they are now 2-1 playing again tomorrow night. Astros now have a 3-2 lead in the bottom of the 9th with 1 out, and the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks are tied at 0. So. But no, other than that,
anything else?
I think the only other thing to slide in is that we are preseason hoops is going, so we will start to get kind of touching on the NBA here pretty soon. We won't dive in a ton today. Zion's playing in preseason games. Some people don't like that. I think it's smart, but you're seeing some guys. Top 50 lists came out. Wembanyama's already ranked as one of the 50 best players in basketball, and he hasn't touched the NBA. He was ranked number 47.
Did you see that steal that he did?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Dude, he's ridiculous.
I mean,
but he's not going to win Rookie of the Year because Chet Holmgren's going to. So we're clear. So we're clear. Because
headbutt Holmgren.
Because Oklahoma's going to have a better basketball.
He received the headbutt. Yeah. Never mind.
Oklahoma's going to have a better basketball team, and because of that, if their numbers are close, they're going to go to the guy that's team is better. And I think Oklahoma's got a better basketball team. If Chet Holmgren comes out and plays as good as he has looked in the preseason and some of the off-season camps and things, hopefully he becomes the number 2 pick like you think he is. You already had a Rookie of the Year candidate last year and a guy that you picked 14th. You already have Shea. You've got Giddey. I mean, I'm sorry. We know I'm an Oklahoma guy, but there's no denying that roster.
You have a good reason to.
Yes, you should be excited as a fan of that team. So I saw a thing the other day that had the Dallas Mavericks not even making the playoffs, and that's with Luka and Kyrie.
Mavericks are making the playoffs.
I think they're making the playoffs too, but I don't know. I'm not sitting here saying they're making a deep run.
Like they're probably going to make it in as a 7th or 8th seed, and that's it.
Yeah, and then of course the Bucks are getting all the love because of the Lillard move. Honestly, as long as it's not Phoenix, I don't care.
It's where was it? It's freak time in Milwaukee.
You think he's just gonna go nuts now?
It's freak time. The Greek freak, Dame time. The freak time.
That's really good. I like that.
I stole it from
probably
ESPN or something.
I don't care. That was that's really good. I like that. I was like, what are you talking about? You think he's gonna go off? I mean, yeah, he's got better shooting around him, but like, oh no, I get it now. Like the Dame time thing. I don't know. I'm not a huge Dame Lillard fan. Like he's good.
I am.
I was. But I don't like the way he handled his exit.
Yes.
That's my problem. Is he handled his exit very Kevin Durant, James Harden-ish.
He was upset that they decided to replace him.
Yes, and like I don't like
playing
that.
next to him.
Yes, I don't like that. If he would have just said, I'm ready to move on, like the way Russ left Oklahoma, the team said, look, we're not going to be in a winning situation. The best for you to move on and go play. Otherwise, I think Russell Westbrook's probably still in Oklahoma to this day.
And probably averaging a quadruple double every game.
Well, no. We've got other scorers on the team now. So. Honestly, if he was in Oklahoma now, though, like that. The sad thing is that he's what we need now. The Oklahoma City Thunder are the Baltimore Orioles of basketball. We have
they deserve it.
all the talent.
They deserve it.
What you see what I'm saying, though, is that they have all the talent, but they don't have that true veteran leader.
Right.
The Orioles, the biggest veteran leader in that locker room was Aaron Hicks. And most people don't even know who Aaron Hicks is.
Nope.
Backup outfitter for the Yankees. The Yankees cut him, and he happened to play better for the Orioles.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's the... I always used to think, no, you keep getting a young guy. I understand as I've gotten older the importance of having at least 1 or 2 guys on your team that play a significant role that are a veteran. Even if it does take away from what might be a better upsided guy, that will help the team's success. And Oklahoma doesn't have that right now.
Have you never watched Moneyball? David Justice?
I know. I mean, because it was all David Justice and not Eric Chavez, not Barry Zito, not Tim Hudson, not the fact that their closer was a Cy Young candidate. Mark Mulder. Let's not acknowledge everyone else that was on the A's. Like, the A's were stacked, and no one realizes how good that team was.
Yeah.
If you watch that movie and don't know baseball, you're just like, wow, he's magic. He's really good at his job. But they were really fucking good around him. And the Astros just won. I guess a double play happened. It happened really fast.
Okay.
So,
wow.
And the Diamondbacks just took a 2-0 lead on a home run by Ketel Marte. So
now we know who.
could the Dodgers get eliminated? Yes, it will be the Astros versus the Texas Rangers. We can't officially announce that. We might be one of the first broadcasting people to say that, but it won't be on the internet until ESPN. But other than that, I mean, like he said, not a ton of things. We kind of we were trying to find ways that we could talk the football a little faster so we could get into more of the fun nuances of things. Like that was one of the things we talked about when we started the show. We just had to find ways to avoid it. We want to do more of the lists. We enjoy getting into the debate side of the sport. So I think it's, rather than recapping, I think we're going to try to keep kicking more of that stuff.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed actually making the list and going, okay, which order do I want to mention this guy in?
And I don't want to
mention it too early.
I enjoy being the guy that sits here and answers it. So I'm completely cool. Like I will sit and answer every list of questions you bring. Like just change the position groups. Like you better find me receivers, running backs, and other sports. I'm okay too.
Yeah.
So no, like you said, I think that's about it though. I think that kind of wraps us up.
I believe so. That's all we got this week.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us. We will have an episode next week, and then we will have a 2-week hiatus because I'm getting married to my wife again. Yippee! You love her enough, you marry her twice, I guess. So then I'll be on a cruise. So who knows? Maybe I'll post a video on Facebook while I'm floating the ocean.
Yeah.
Hey, too many fantasy football teams to not buy the internet package.
You know what? Let's talk about that real quick. How's your fantasy teams doing? Because I know you got a bunch of them.
I have a bunch of them. So I had losing Justin Jefferson hurt because I ran out Jefferson and Richardson last week and took a loss that I shouldn't have.
Ooh, yeah.
I took a bad loss last week, so I still have enough star power. I think I'll recover it, but if I'd have started Brock Purdy, I would have won without a problem, even with the other injuries. So big money leagues, one of them's doing fine, injury bug. The other one, not so hot. The team's just not. I just start the wrong guy, shit like that.
Yeah, I'm having that myself.
Yeah, the league we're in together, doing okay. I think I'm 3-2 in that league. And you're 4-1, right? Yeah. So we're doing okay. I'm tied for first in my division. That was that whole debate we had in the chat the other day.
Yeah, I'm 4-1 in 2 leagues and 1-4 in another.
Yeah.
The league that I'm 1-4 in is the league that I'm the 3-time champion. Back-to-back champion and been in the championship 4 years in a row.
Oh yeah.
So I'm looking like I'm not even gonna make the playoffs this year in that league. At least I'm 1-4 in 2 other leagues. So
yeah.
Or 4-1 in 2 other leagues. So I'm making up for what's happening in that one.
I'm enjoying the dynasty leagues. That's getting fun because I drafted. Like, I took over one of the dynasty teams out of a league. Someone else had built the team, and I blew it up. Like, going into next year's draft, I have, 3 first-round picks. Like, I was making moves for the future. Well, so they do this, it's stupid to me, but they do this record for against the median. Have you heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you take your win and loss. So if you win the week, you get a win. You lose the week, you get a loss. Okay, but now you have against the median, which is the median score of the league. If your score is over the median, you get a win. If your score is below the median, you get a loss. So you can win for the week. But if you win one of those crap turners where you only won 101 to 100 and then 8 people scored in the 140s, you get a loss because you won, but you wouldn't have won if you played most of the league.
Wow.
And so I'm 6-4 in that league because every week that I've won the median, or lost, I've lost the median. In all 3 of my dynasties this week, I was the top scoring team. One of my teams went for 270 points. I mean, the next closest guy was 50 points behind me. I went off in all my dynasty teams. Now, I had Devin Akane in all of my dynasty teams, and now he's hurt. So.
Yeah.
So. That hurts.
One of my biggest things was drafting Sam Laporta in every single league.
Which has been a hit for you.
It being
number 1 tight end in fantasy football
massive hits. Like the fact that it was my very last pick, and I just used, well, I just lost HN, but I just used Sam Laporta and Anthony Richardson to trade for HN and Damian Pierce, and I did that because I needed some running backs.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to give up my tight end 1 because I also had TJ Hawkinson as my tight end.
Exactly.
So I was able to just go, you know what? I can give that away.
Yeah.
And to help build the depth that I need right here. And then, of course, I lost HN, so now I gotta run Damian Pierce out. So that's the only bad thing about that. But the person I traded, they just lost Anthony Richardson. So
Yeah, exactly. I signed Richardson to trade him.
yeah,
He was a free agent. I don't know why he was
I
a
had
free agent.
Richardson and CJ Stroud in every single league.
Yeah.
And I did it on purpose because I was like, if I've got 2 really good backups, I can potentially use this as trade bait.
Yes.
And whichever one does good, I can just hold on to it. And both of them ended up doing really well, and I was like, well, I've got Tank Dell in this one, so I might as well just keep CJ Stroud in all my leagues so I can have this right here.
The stat.
And I can just
No.
And then of course the guy that I traded Richardson to, he had Michael Pittman, so I was able
It
to
worked out for him.
tell him, I was like, you can get your stack plus you're getting Sam Porta. And he had like 6 running backs that were all RB1s.
That was how.
So
that was how my trade. The guy that I picked up Richardson. I literally spent the rest of my free agent bucks on him. That fab auction money. I spent my last $20 on it to get him, and I coupled him with Terry McLaurin because I had on that one team. This is the team where I have Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, St. Brown, who was also out last week. Talking about pain, dude. When you lose Jefferson, St. Brown, and Richardson, and still almost win.
Woo.
So I sent him. I said, look, I'll give you Terry McLaurin because his receiving core is not very good, and I'll give you Anthony Richardson because he was running out. I want to say he was running out. I think his best option was Baker, and Baker was on his bye. Like he didn't have anything good going at quarterback. And I said, and I offered to throw in. There was something else that I offered to throw in. I went big. Like I asked him for Bijan because the guy has so many holes that if I give him, I'm giving him 3 starters. So me getting back 1 isn't really ripping you off. Like that's me getting value for what you're getting. And he thought on it, and then when waivers processed, he grabbed Josh Dobbs, and he was like, no, I'll take Josh Dobbs. And I said, okay, I understand. I think the upside would have made more sense here, but I get you. And so he did it, and then now Anthony Richardson's hurt, and I've released him because he's on the IR for 4 weeks, and I don't have a roster spot for him.
Right, yeah, that does suck.
All right. Well, now that we've fun with our fantasy teams, we'll holler at it later if you have anything else. Thanks, guys.